I had this funny reflection this morning, thinking about a file from like 8 years ago when I was newly in the industry, and thinking about the way I handled it, and thinking to myself, like, I would never handle it that way today. Like,
Right.
there's so much you learn over time, from being, a new agent to, let's say, 10 years in the game. So I think for newer agents listening, like mortgage agents and realtors and whoever, like, I think all these things that happen to us in our, day-to-day occurrences as professionals in the industry, I think it's good that we talk about them, because I think it does help educate other people in the industry as well about what's out there, what's available, what we're seeing, and so on.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
Hello, and welcome to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about real estate in our nation's capital. And I didn't have time to talk to ChatGPT this morning, so that's all you're getting. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm a mortgage agent. I'm here with Greg Campbell. He is a realtor and a managing director at the agency Ottawa. The agency. And we're here with David Warren. He's a mortgage agent and an owner at Referral Mortgages. Gentlemen, how are we doing? How was the weekend? And welcome to May.
Great. Weekend was great. I was in Mont-Tremblant for our two daughters' dance competition. They both placed first in their categories. So that was quite an exciting weekend. And now they've been invited to the World Cups in Whistler in July.
Oh, God.
So, wow.
The World Cup.
The World Cup of Dance.
Well, that escalated.
Dance.
Yeah. Now you got to go to Whistler.
Which is actually cool, because I haven't been to Vancouver or Whistler in like 10 years, and I lived there for 11 years. So I'm excited that this may actually happen.
Look at
as long as all the other parents can do it.
That's pretty wild. I feel like it went from like a local festival to winning an event to now to the Worlds.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they're good. I wasn't expecting this, so it's exciting.
That's cool.
That was my weekend. David, how was your weekend? David.
Dave's handling some business.
I think he lost his audio when the little guy jumped on there.
He's cleaned his ears.
There we go.
I decided to spend the weekend at the hockey rink in April, which is always fun. Now that the season's done, we're prepping for the fall. Hey, as soon as the winter season's done, let's get the fall schedule tryouts going. So we were there at the arena all weekend with some hockey tryouts for my son. And other than that, the rain's great, because I have a lot of newly planted items in my garden. So I'm happy about the rain, gentlemen. So that kept me indoors, watched some hockey. Pretty laid back weekend, if I'm being honest. Didn't do too much. A lot of sitting and waiting and watching. Just like the buyers in the Ottawa market.
That's great. Okay, well, two things here to our listeners. I have no charger. My battery's at 8%. I'll be switching to my phone in a minute. Handheld at my phone. I wanted to get into a little something. Something happened last week on the show that was
it last week?
It was last week. It was last week's show.
Okay.
I got a call. I got a call and I got an email from a lovely man named Jim Norris. Jim Norris, excuse me. He represents Right at Home Realty. And I guess what had happened on the show, we were talking at some point about exactly. We were talking about people, agents working, agents being in the business, agents not being in the business, agents being part-timers, not part-timers, or whatever. And I guess, and I don't even remember saying this, and I remember asking both of you after, and you said you don't even remember it, because we generally never do that. We don't bring up the names of agents or brokers, brokerages, etc. When we're talking, just because it's part of the anti-competition rules for RICO. Me being an agent and a partner. So we don't want to be doing that. You can talk vaguely about what's how you feel about something or what it is, kind of like how, you know, the deal I was doing with the agent last week, trying to find the rental, and he wasn't getting great service. So anyway, apparently I said something along the lines of maybe making it seem like it was not a discount brokerage, but not a full service brokerage. And I threw in the Right at Home Realty name. And I think that happens subconsciously because I have a couple of people that I've known throughout the years that went there. And initially they were like, you know, this offers what I need right now based on fees and et cetera. And now what I found out is that Right at Home Realty is actually a full service brokerage from the back end as well. They have non-licensed managers in every office, so they're non-competition for the agents, which is great. And they have like full training programs. They have a great YouTube channel with a lot of information. So I'm just here offering my apology to Right at Home Realty and all the people and all the listeners who apparently were listening to the show, working at Right at Home Realty, and then calling Jim Norris after the fact saying, listen, this guy on the Ottawa Real Estate podcast that I listened to was talking badly or interpreted in whatever way about Right at Home Realty. So I got a call, I got a lesson, I got some information. I know more about Right at Home Realty now than I ever did before. And, you know, it's a great organization. It's growing. It's one of the biggest ones in Ontario. And, you know, it is considered a full service brokerage, and what they offer to their agents is less fees than a more traditional brokerage model, similar to ours at the agency. So I just wanted to offer a heartfelt apology to anyone I might have offended by that. It was definitely a little slip of the tongue, and it was not meant to talk badly about the brokerage or any of its agents in any way. And thank you to Jim Norris for educating me on more of what Right at Home Realty is all about. There's a great office in Ottawa, and there is a lot of great agents working at Right at Home Realty in Ottawa. So everybody, check it out.
Great name.
They have my support. Right at Home. Yeah.
So do you want to choose another brokerage that has low fees you can
that I can pump up?
No. Yeah.
It was great though. You know what was good about this? Jim called me, and he, you know, the first thing he said was, he goes, it's nice that I was actually able to call you and have a nice, you know, professional conversation about this. And you've basically responded to me how I would expect another professional to respond. And, you know, and I said, well, hey man, I go, that's what the industry has to have more of. You know, you can't just be excited and talking out of line all the time. And, you know, I just apologized for my little slip and told him that I would give the company a shout out on the show. So, you know, I just think it's a great way to, it's kind of cool that this happened, is what I'm saying. I think it's good. It's good for me. It's good for the show. It's good for us. It's good for Right at Home Realty as well.
Well, it's nice that he approached it that way as well, that he, you know, he could have gone a multitude of different ways with it.
Absolutely.
And to actually, you know, just have a conversation with you. A lot of people, I think, would have gone a different direction. So
yes,
shout outs to Jim.
A lot of people could have gone a very different direction.
Yeah.
It also shows you, and it always surprises me that people listen to us ramble.
There's actually people listening to us.
But there are a lot of people, I think, that listen that are in the industry, either mortgage agents, you know, appraisers, realtors, inspectors. I think there's people in the industry. I mean, anyone who's interested in real estate, unless you're, you know, an investor or someone who's just really, you know, a hobbyist when it comes to real estate, the likelihood of someone listening, like I'm not listening to a plumber's podcast, right? It would probably be people in that industry or people that are interested in that. So I would say the majority of our listeners are probably in the industry, but for the people that aren't, I think it's also important for them to know that as agents, both realtors and mortgage agents, like we have options for different brokerages, different compensation, different training. So I think it's good for them to be educated too on what is actually available out there. Because you see, you know, Remax, Royal LePage, the agency, Right at Home, like there's all these different brokerages. Like, what's the difference? Like, who cares what brokerage someone's with? But I think for listeners, they may not understand the differences between the two. So you saying incorrectly, I guess in this case, like something like that where there's a low fee, like there are options like that out there, where agents listening don't even know that. I mean, I had this funny reflection this morning, thinking about a file from like 8 years ago when I was newly in the industry, and thinking about the way I handled it, and thinking to myself, like, I would never handle it that way today. You know, like,
Right.
there's so much you learn over time, from being, you know, a new agent to, let's say, 10 years in the game. So I think for newer agents listening, like mortgage agents and realtors and whoever, like, I think all these things that happen to us in our, you know, day-to-day occurrences as professionals in the industry, I think it's good that we talk about them, because I think it does help educate other people in the industry as well about what's out there, what's available, you know, what we're seeing, and so on.
And I'll be honest, like, you know, I didn't do any research on Right at Home Realty. I haven't in the past. You know, it kind of made me realize I should know more about other brokerages and their specific models. And I was happily surprised that, you know, that Right at Home Realty has all these resources for agents that I didn't know that they had. So yeah, good thing came out of it, right? A little bit of knowledge, a little bit of wisdom for everyone.
For sure.
Especially from me.
So after last week's show, talking about it, we did have we touched very quickly last week, I think, on the Bank of Canada announcement, and, you know, interest rates, and people wanting to go variable now, and people kind of shifting their views and so on. An interesting article came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, on Canadian mortgage trends, my go-to, and the headline is "Interest rates expected to fall to 3% by the end of 2024." So we were saying that, you know, Dave and I were at the conference. They mentioned one of the TD, someone representing TD was talking about their analysts expecting variable rates to go down, you know, prime to go down upwards of 200 basis points, so 2%, down 2%, and then by the end of 2024. So this article is kind of corroborating that. So this says the Bank of Canada's benchmark interest rate is expected to fall back to around 3% by the end of 2024, according to a median of responses from market participants. The findings were released in the Bank of Canada's first quarter market participant survey, which surveyed 30 financial market participants between March 9th and 23rd. The respondents also pointed to the weaker housing markets as the top risk facing economic growth in Canada, followed by tighter financial conditions and tighter monetary policy. The median forecast among participants points to a looming recession, with GDP growth of minus 0.1 in 2023. And then they were saying on inflation, the participants expect the total CPI inflation to slow to 2.7 by the end of 2023, which I think 2.7, I think we're at 4.3 was the last inflation number, if I'm not mistaken. 4 point somewhere in there, Dave.
Yeah, somewhere 4.1 or 4.3 and around there.
Dave's our inflation guy. Inflations and segues, those are
And babysitter.
and babysitters and Canadian bonds. So 2.7 by the end of 23 is definitely trending in the right direction of where at least their target is. Where I think the inflation target is 2. No, not 2. That's the rate. The rate target is 2%. Inflation, I'd say it's 2 to 3%. I think is like a normal inflation, right? 2 to 3%. So that's kind of where they're expecting it to be, which is great. It means things are kind of balancing out. And I heard someone talking this morning, thinking about 2 years ago during the pandemic when it was kind of at its height, and just thinking about what life was like then. Like, to think of now, you know, all stores being closed, being forced to stay in our houses, like, it's so wild now to think of that 2 years out, you know?
Yeah.
A lot can change, is all I'm saying. We're getting back to normalcy, it seems.
And you know, kind of touching on rates and the bond market and all that, there was overnight another U.S. bank that failed, First Republic Bank in the U.S., and its assets bought out by J.P. Morgan to basically ensure that it was basically the third largest bank collapse in U.S. Hopefully that stabilized the market. I know they were rushing to sell off its assets, but it'll be interesting to see how that ripples out over the week into the bond market and into the Canadian mortgage bond market, which will, obviously impacts quite a number of things, from rates to currency to everything, right? So kind of is an ongoing trend. So like you said, their expectations or hopes are that they start lowering rates come 2024, Q1, and start dropping that 200 basis points. But anything can happen, and if these banks in the U.S. continue to keep having issues and bank runs, that translates over to the Canadian market, then that could drastically change things. there's always a plan until that plan gets blown up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot going on in the world still. So who knows what's around the corner? But I mean, it's good to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, then nothing happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think Greg, did you have some over the weekend that you wanted to touch on?
Did I have a story that I wanted to touch on over the weekend? No, my story was the Right at Home Realty story.
Got it. I think there was an email that we got from a
that's
that we got out to dinner with, actually, Michael, and he was talking about, Paul, maybe you can bring that up, but he
have it here.
Kind of the moving within the city, smart sales and smart buying. The different pockets of the city are multiple offers or are still hot, whereas some pockets of the city are not selling as quickly. So this gentleman was able to sell his house in Riverside South, I believe, or Findlay Creek, one of the two, and was able to sell for, I believe, just over $1 million, and then moved and was able to buy a larger home in Russell, where it's a buyer's market, and save, get a bigger house, bigger lot for $200,000 less. So kind of an interesting comment from him about, moving laterally sometimes within the city can also improve, your financial picture situation, because there are always different pockets that are, maybe a buyer's or a seller's market in different areas.
Yeah, I can read the specifics here just to touch on it. It says, I'm following up with an interesting phenomenon that perhaps may be worth discussing on the show. Newly returned concept. For those looking to capitalize on the buyer versus seller's market differential, I believe there is some serious equity to gain. That's kind of his preface. And here's the info. It says, I currently live in Findlay Creek, described currently as a seller's market. We currently sold our 4-bedroom plus loft, 2,600 square feet above grade, for $10,000 over ask in 20 hours. So that's very fast. 1.045. We then moved up, in quotes, in home, moving to Russell and purchasing a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, triple car garage on a 50 by 110 foot lot. Both homes were built in 2021 for $882,000. Russell's currently a buyer's market, with the home we purchased having been on the market for 200 plus days. That's a difference in price of $163,000, assuming $50,000 closing costs to include realtor fees, legal fees, disbursements, movers, etc. That's $113,000 in equity / mortgage savings. So yeah, very interesting. Everyone always thinks of sizing up, but I mean, in his case, he did size up physically. But yeah,
I've done that. Personally, I've done that a couple of times, even within downtown, of moving from almost same size home to same size home, but just moving slight areas within downtown, and been able to fix up the next place, live in it for a couple of years, sell it, move to a similar size, and kind of rinse and repeat, and each time just kind of keep an eye out for those deals. Now, I will say that was before having a child, so it made it a lot easier. I imagine it's not as easy to move as often as I did, but to Michael's point, there are different pockets that have different sale prices, different size homes, different demand, and it's certainly something, if you're looking at kind of taking advantage of that and locking in that equity gain, certainly in moving laterally, or in this case even moving up just between areas, can be hugely beneficial for long-term growth of investments or overall personal situation. Sorry, my kids.
No, it's all good. And Russell's not even that far. Russell's a great location. I mean, Russell, Richmond, Munster. More comparable to Russell, I guess, would be Embrun and Limoges, but Embrun's hot. Embrun's great. Better prices. Better prices for the type of home that certain people want in the city, and it's not really that far. I don't know why people think Embrun is so far, but if you're used to living in Barhaven or Orleans, Embrun is actually right at the highway, basically. So your access to get into town is pretty quick. I love it out there, and you can save 100 to 150,000 pretty quick.
Now, Munster is another spot I'm surprised hasn't picked up, even from a development standpoint, like Ashton, Munster, like you're literally between Carleton Place and Stittsville, which seems like a pretty ideal location. I know in that area, right when you get onto Highway 7, the Stittsville exit, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's just Stittsville. Right by the Play Value toy store. When you get off there, they have highways and off-ramps pre-built for the next like 25 years out there, like clearly prime for development. All sorts of forest land and so on, not suggesting we get rid of the forest, but a lot of farmland and things like that that without doubt are going to be developed on. But Munster is kind of right in that pocket where it's actually closer than Carleton Place. But there's only, I don't know, maybe 100 homes in Munster, maybe 200 homes. Like I don't know what the actual number is. But really, really nice, neat, kind of tiny homes and tiny. Big lots considering the homes, like lots of acreage, I would say. And I don't even know why I said tiny homes. They're not tiny at all. And yeah, if anyone is kind of looking for one of those outskirts, I guess, like check out Munster, as you said, Greg, Amber. I'm trying to think of what else is kind of Ashton is right in that Munster area, kind of same idea. And then Beckwith, Black's Corners, places like that are really neat kind of pockets that don't get talked about enough, I don't think.
Let me, you know what, that's a good segue into me doing a little bit of a report on those areas for next week. I'm behind on my stats. I know the spring market kicked in and I just haven't taken the time. I see them, but I haven't taken the time to write them down and make a nice graphic for everyone. But that'll be good. So next week I'll do Munster, Richmond, and I'll do Russell.
Yeah,
that'll be good. That's a good task. Everyone can kind of see what's going on out there and how much they can save.
What'd you see in the actual market this week, Greg? Like as far as like listing showings, like what's the market looking like in general?
It's the same. You know, we put up a condo at 320 Parkdale, which is a pretty unique building. It's loft style. You know, we put it up. It's got parking. It's very well done. You know, not overly upgraded. It's just nice. And you know, it's sold in 3 days. Basically full price, no conditions. Not multiple offers, but that was the offer. So it's that was pretty. I was impressed by that to see a condo move that quick. And also had a buyer came in, property was just listed, came in, bought it again, full price. Only condition was a review of a status certificate and everything was okay with that. I had a couple deals firm up. I had a couple deals closed, and the rentals is still super, super hot. I have we have 3 people we're looking at rentals with right now. Finding it challenging just to because of the competition and making sure that everybody has all their proper documents together. But due to this recent increase in rental activity, rental business for us, we're actually kind of building a better system for people looking for rentals, because I've never done this much at one time. So I'm kind of realizing that there's a lot of people who need help. So I'm trying to build a better system with Luca so that we're able to serve them better, serve the people looking for rental properties. Like, I mean, we're good at it. We're on a bit of a roll, but you can always do better and help more, right? So if anyone's looking for a rental, we've got a good team that can help out and get you into something.
I just thought of something I'm going to get you, Greg. I'm not going to mention it till you have it on during the show. And I also realized, speaking of having on, we are wearing pretty much the exact same sweater today, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
I changed into this when I got home, and I'm like, I think Greg's mirroring my image.
Mine's a navy, a dark navy.
Funny story. So my son and I, he had his hockey yesterday. His first game was at 10. The second was at 2. So we had some time in between. So we went to a local coffee shop, and he was working on one of his assignments. And his assignment, the class is personal life management. So it's basically how to live like a normal human after you graduate school, which is a pretty interesting course and certainly something we never had. But one of the things he was going through was an exercise where they had to find, they had like case studies. And one of the case studies was regarding a couple looking to buy a home. And I thought it was quite hilarious because this was clearly done, this worksheet, many years ago. It was, whoever and whoever were out buying a home. They're looking in the downtown core. They want something that's minimum 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, garage, etc. Their budget for purchasing is $250,000. They've saved $40,000 for down payment, and you had to figure out, what the property taxes were, what the utilities are going to be, how much it's going to cost them, what is it compared to renting. Like, it was actually a perfect assignment for me to work on with him, to be honest. That's basically what I do every day. But it was just, I just showed him what's available for $250,000. Which was nothing basically in Ottawa. But we ended up having to go to London, Ontario to be downtown. And there was a few condos that were like $249,900, I think is what we found. But just amazing. The teacher obviously must have used this from another worksheet or something. I mean, it's this, even the rent, like there was another option that was the case study was a rental, 3 friends looking to rent a place. And they had a total of $1,500. All utilities included, has to be downtown, laundry on site, etc. It's like, this is Narnia. Like, these things don't exist.
Yeah. Dude, it's total Narnia. Oh yeah.
Where's Aslan? Where's the witch in the wardrobe? They're hiding somewhere.
That's a great course, or a great assignment for kids his age. Actually, something practical.
Yeah, the class is really neat. Like, all the assignments he's had have been pretty, like, very realistic, practical, budgeting, finding jobs. Like, they had to create a career path, and what do you make for that position? And like, it's actual real life, tangible learnings, which I thought
that's cool,
refreshing.
Yeah,
definitely never had those courses.
No. Let's keep in mind our business courses were like, when we took business in school, it was literally like typing on a keyboard. That was our business. That was business back in the day. If you know how to type on a keyboard, if you can do more than 10 words per minute, business. Hey, you're a businessman. You and you're just walking down the street with a keyboard and a boombox. That guy must be in business.
Always business. That's amazing.
Oh. All right, gentlemen. Well,
to add today, I feel out of sorts. I feel like I've been helpful today, but I feel out of sorts.
It's surprising we're usually so on for Mondays.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. Steven says. Steven, our producer, also says that nobody would hire you if you don't know how to write cursive. Hey? That was the old mantra.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to cursive write, you're those damn Zeds.
Pretty funny, eh? How like our kids will never need to write cursive if they don't want to. I mean, I print myself. I used to be able to write. I could still write cursive if I needed to, but I print. But our kids will never need to write cursive unless they want to learn like calligraphy.
Yeah, I just write my kids' notes in cursive, so they have no idea what I'm saying.
I love it, Steven. Cursive is the new invisible ink.
Yeah.
Very true.
Steven's on a roll. Hold him back.
Good segue, Steven. Should we get into the mood boost?
Yeah, I think
so. One for himself. I got 3. I could squeeze 4, but I think I'll go 3. The 4th is soft. So number 1, 2 goldfish are in a tank. One says to the other, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" Thank you.
Dude, that was the best. Oh man,
very, very delayed.
Yeah, we're all deadpan. I was laughing and looking at all of us with no expression. Go ahead.
See, I can't even see you guys because I'm reading them. So
I
just hoping you laugh. Dave's probably shaking his head on mute.
Yeah.
Number 2, I know a lot of jokes about retired people, but none of them work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And number 3, a frog. Everyone got the 23andMe. A frog got his DNA tested. Turns out he's part Irish, part British, and a tadpole.
Okay. They increased in quality. Still not quality, but they increased in quality.
Oh, throughout the 3, yes, each one.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to shamelessly promote an article that I wrote last week because it's getting good traction, and I've had a lot of kind of comments and DMs because of it. It's the 7 essential tips that every first-time homebuyer should know. So I sometimes I don't write these sorts of articles because I feel like everyone probably knows these things, but then when I do write them, people are like, "This is great info." So I feel like sometimes we as professionals maybe write it for other professionals in the industry as opposed to the general public. So if anyone's interested in that, if you have anyone that's kind of out shopping or is a first-time home buyer, if you just go to my website, PaulStevenson.ca, on the first page, there's a section there for my blogs and 7 essential tips that every home buyer should know. So check it out.
7 essential nutrients.
Yes.
That every home buyer should have.
Dave, Martini Madness coming up.
Yeah.
As well.
Next
May
next
12th.
Friday. Next Friday.
Yeah, it's very soon.
Early. Well, by the time everyone listens to this, you will have missed early bird. So too bad. Regular prices are on.
If you're listening live, buy now. If you're
Madness.ca.
listening tomorrow when it comes out, it's too late.
Yeah. Madness.ca. We got Glass Tiger, an old school band playing. We got
You've got Glass Tiger playing.
Glass Tigers
Largo.
playing?
we got DJ Ryan LaBelle on the 1s and 2s afterwards.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Vodka,
Dude.
martinis, dinner stations. Let's go.
Sorry, I'm dying here. Alan Freud from Glass Tiger. Don't forget me when I'm gone.
I can't wait.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. We might actually make it out to that one, David.
Great.
FYI.
Well, hope to see.
We're working on it now. Yeah.
I like it.
Well, that's
Sitters,
news to me.
Get
That
those
just made my
sitters
day.
and get that Uber because
Because it's mad and it's martinis.
All right, gentlemen. Well, great show.
Okay.
We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, review, share, comment, all those other words, and we'll be back next week. The Auto Real Estate Podcast.
What a show.
How are we still doing this?
Sorry, people. We apologize.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.